We're live from New Delhi. You're watching India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Nipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Israel launches large-scale operation as Gaza conflict drags on. US announces new sanctions on settlers over West Bank violence. With tensions high in West Asia, UN extends Lebanon peacekeeping forces mandate in favor of stability and a ceasefire. Typhoon Shanshan slams into southern Japan, hit by heavy rain and power outages, thousands evacuated. US NSA Jake Sullivan raises the stability in Taiwan Strait and South China Sea. US and China plan more direct military talks. Top officials plan Biden-Xi call in coming weeks. And India celebrates National Sports Day today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays tribute to wizard of hockey Major Shanshan, reaffirms support to sports. And on to the details now. Meanwhile, Washington on Wednesday announced sanctions on an Israeli settler group, which according to the State Department was involved in violence against Palestinians and the forced displacement of some 250 villagers earlier this year. Netanyahu's office said he viewed the new sanctions with utmost severity. The sanctions freeze the U.S. assets of those targeted, denying them access and generally bars Americans from dealing with them. The sanctions will be imposed under an executive order on West Bank violence that President Joe Biden signed in February. It has been used to impose sanctions on a Palestinian terrorist group as well as Jewish settlers and those supporting them. Meanwhile, the United Nations World Food Programme temporarily suspended movement of its employees across the Gaza on Wednesday. The step was taken after bullets struck one of its clearly marked vehicles as it approached an Israeli military checkpoint. A convoy of 2 armored vehicles received multiple clearances by Israeli authorities to approach the Wadi Gaza bridge checkpoint on Tuesday evening. Bullets hit one of the vehicles, but no one in it was hurt. The Israeli military did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the incident. It said the vehicle was a few meters from the Israeli checkpoint when it was hit. And a protest organized by the Hostages Families Forum in Tel Aviv led a convoy of cars lined up on the road displaying signs demanding action for the release of hostages on Wednesday. These cars were damaged during the events of October 7th and now serve as stark reminders during the demonstration. The convoy continued to Kibbutz Be'eri, where it was greeted by people waving Israeli and yellow flags. More than 250 Israelis and foreigners were taken hostage in the attack, in which some 1,200 people were killed. And moving on, the United Nations Security Council has unanimously voted to extend a long-running peacekeeping mission in Lebanon for another year. But the United States said that changes should be made to the operation's mandate in the future. The UN interim force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, was established in 1978, which patrols Lebanon's southern border with Israel. The mandate for the operation is renewed annually, and its current authorization was due to expire on the 31st of August. And it's less than 70 days until the U.S. election when people will decide on their next president and vote for lawmakers. There have already been dramatic twists and turns as incumbent leader Joe Biden dropped out after the first debate and Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt. He's now competing against Vice President Kamala Harris, in which is tipped to be a close race to the White House, as Caroline Malone reports for more from Washington, D.C.
Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you.
Kamala Harris thanked current President Biden, who, in stepping down as Democratic candidate, has paved the way for her to compete. Polls show there's a chance she can win, even though she's only been running for just over a month.
I want you to know, I promise to be a president for all Americans. You can always trust me.
Harris is trying to draw a contrast between herself and Trump by supporting reproductive rights, pushing to fix a housing crisis and supporting the middle class. Above and beyond, she brings a new, younger energy to the election, one that Biden would most likely have lost to Trump.
Together we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Trump and the Republican Party are promising to crack down on crime and illegal immigration to boost the economy and control inflation, which they blame on Democrats and the Biden-Harris administration.
I don't think foreign policy is going to be like the key issue for a lot of voters. That said, I think on the Republican side, they definitely tie in opposition to Ukraine in, as part of a broader package of this kind of populisty, America first type of message.
Whether people vote on an issue or along party lines, they're choosing from candidates who are familiar to them, both with a track record. Harris as vice president and a former district attorney, Trump as a former president with a criminal record, which is likely to be brought up when they debate on September 10th.
Both of them like to get under the skin of the other one. Harris, of course, is a prosecutor, and when she was prosecutor, the other prosecutors would watch her. She was that good. And of course, Donald Trump loves to get under other people's skin. He likes to interrupt them, and he just really likes to call them out on a number of different things.
Shortly after the debate, many states will start receiving their mail ballots for people to start early voting, including in Georgia and North Carolina. They are among 7 key swing states that will be critical in deciding who wins the presidential election. Caroline Malone in Washington for DD India.
And the European Union's 27 foreign ministers will meet in Brussels on Thursday to discuss possibly increasing support to Ukraine and lifting restrictions on where and how Kyiv's forces can use Western weaponry. The ministers will be joined by their Ukrainian and Turkish counterparts for the EU's first foreign ministers meeting in months. DD India's Alex Cardia reports for more from Brussels.
Well, this meeting will be the first opportunity for those EU foreign ministers to come together for the first time since their summer break and react to some of the big events going on around the world, chief among which will be Ukraine. Dmytro Kuleba, the Ukrainian foreign minister, will be here in Brussels meeting with his European counterparts, making the case for some of the restrictions on the weapons that they have given to Ukraine to be lifted, allowing Ukraine to hit deeper into Russian territory, hitting military targets which have otherwise been used to hit Ukrainian lands and Ukrainian territory. That will be one of the big practical questions faced by those foreign ministers in this meeting. Also on the agenda will be the Turkish foreign minister, the first time a Turkish foreign minister has attended one of these meetings in 5 years, perhaps a sign of a warming between the two sides. But certainly they will be discussing diplomatic relations between Brussels and Ankara, so something to look for there as well. But central, of course, that Ukrainian question, both because Russia has been pummeling civilian infrastructure in Ukraine and because Ukraine's incursion in the Russian Kursk region continues. It has slowed, but it continues. So there will be a lot of questions around the logistics, the diplomacy, and the support offered by Europe to Ukraine. Further afield, they will look at the irregularities in the Venezuelan election. That will be a big consideration and concern for those foreign ministers brought together. And of course, the situation in the Middle East between Israel and Hezbollah, that escalating situation with those hundreds of missiles fired across the border into Israel and with Israeli retaliation. The fear of escalation in that region still very real here in Europe. So certainly a lot for these foreign ministers to look into at this meeting. Alex Cadye in Brussels reporting for DD India.
Well, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan meets one of Chinese President Xi Jinping's top military officials on Thursday as he wraps up 3 days of talks in Beijing intended to ease the simmering tensions between the two countries. Sullivan is expected to press for enhanced working-level military-to-military communications when he meets General Zhang Yuxia, Vice Chairman of China's paramount military body, the Central Military Commission. It is the first meeting between Zhang and a Biden administration official. Sullivan will also talk further with China's top diplomat Wang Yi, seeking to calm tensions ahead of the U.S. election. And Telegram boss and founder Pavel Durov has been placed under formal investigation in France as part of a probe into organized crime on the messaging app. Durov has not been remanded in custody but placed under judicial supervision and has to pay over $5 million deposit. He was charged on several counts of failing to curb extremist and illegal content on the popular messaging app following a hearing with investigating magistrates in Paris. In France, being put under formal investigation does not imply guilt or necessarily result in a trial, but it indicates that judges consider there is enough of a case to proceed with an investigation. And a Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, said the government led by Nicolas Maduro had detained over 150 children during a series of arrests of opposition figures. During a peaceful protest in Caracas, Machado also said many supporters of Maduro's predecessor, Hugo Chavez, were now turning against the current government. Venezuela's Electoral Council has proclaimed Maduro as winner of the election but has not published complete voting tallies. The opposition has published its own tallies showing a landslide win for its candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez. Meanwhile, Venezuela's Attorney General Tarek Saab said he will issue a third summon for opposition leader Gonzalez to testify about an opposition website where presidential voting tallies have been posted. Gonzalez has ignored 2 summons this week. If he ignores the third, a warrant could be issued for his arrest. And Honduras ended an extradition treaty with the United States that has been used to imprison drug traffickers. It accused Washington of meddling in Honduran-Venezuelan relations. Honduran Foreign Secretary Eduardo Enrique Reina said international relations should be based precisely on non-interference or not trying to impose policies. Earlier on Wednesday, Honduran President Xiomara Castro ordered a denunciation or unilateral withdrawal of a treaty in international law and accused Washington of meddling in her country's affairs. And Brazilian Super Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes ordered billionaire Elon Musk to appoint a legal representative for a social media platform X in Brazil within 24 hours or face the site's suspension in the country by Thursday night. Moraes said that companies that do not respect Brazilian legislation or the confidentiality of private information have their activities temporarily suspended under country's law regulating internet issues. Earlier, X announced it would close its operation and fire its staff in Brazil due to censorship orders from Moraes. And major typhoon Shanshan has made landfall on Japan's main southern island of Kyushu, knocking out power supply for over 250,000 households and injuring dozens of people on Thursday morning. Officials say this could be one of the strongest storms ever to hit the region, as some residents in the path of Typhoon Shanshan have been ordered to evacuate, and major firms like Toyota closed their factories. Airlines and rail operators have cancelled some services for the coming days. The typhoon is characterized as very strong in Kyushu. Also, the southwestern region of Japan is on high alert as the meteorological agency has issued an emergency warning saying the typhoon could bring flooding, landslides and winds strong enough to knock down some houses. Also, rain and strong winds were witnessed in Fukuoka city as Typhoon Shanshan made landfall this morning, with authorities advising thousands of people to evacuate and issuing the highest warning level for wind and storm surges. The storm is expected to approach central and eastern region, including the capital Tokyo, over the weekend. And in Sudan, floods continue to devastate 11 Sudanese states and destruct hundreds of thousands of houses and civilian infrastructure, compounding a humanitarian crisis in a country with the world's largest scale of displacement due to the fighting between the country's security units. Naba Moeddin reports for more from Port Sudan.
The death toll has risen to 138 and hundreds of people are still missing in northern and eastern Sudan. Torrential rains continue to hit the majority of Sudanese states, with Kassala, Red Sea and northern states recording the highest figures of casualties. Sudan's meteorological authority says this rainy season is the heaviest in 100 years. A devastating crisis to millions of vulnerable people across the country. A crucial dam has collapsed in eastern Sudan on Sunday, killing dozens and injuring hundreds more. Other 3 dams in eastern Sudan are under threat of a collapse. The number of people displaced by the floods exceeded 300,000 people, a serious challenge to those affected by 16 months of conflict in Sudan. This rainy season is also contributing to the outbreaks of pandemics like cholera, malaria and watery diarrhea, making the overwhelmed health system even worse. Naba Moeddin, reporting from Port Sudan in Sudan for DD India.
And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a short while.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of India's largest port project at Vadhavan near Dahanu in the Palghar district in Western India's Maharashtra. More in this report.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of India's largest port project at Vadhavan near Dahanu in Palghar district of Maharashtra. This port will boost economic activity and open new avenues for international trade. The project cost of Rs 76,220 crores includes development of major infrastructure, terminals and other commercial infrastructure. It will be developed in public-private partnership mode as an all-weather, greenfield, deep draft major port.
There are 2-3 aspects which are very unique to this project. The first and most important aspect is that there is a huge demand and supply gap will be in 2030 for the EXIM trade for the containers, and this gap will be fulfilled by this particular project.
The project has the potential to create around 12 lakh jobs. Local communities expect an uptick in employment and other opportunities for them once the work commences.
I feel this project is going to be a mega boost in the financial and infrastructure boost for the progress of the Palghar district, and it is going to be on the maps of major international front, and it is going to improve connectivity to the outside world.
Vadhavan port will be in proximity of hinterland clusters including the upcoming dedicated freight corridors and Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor. The port can serve as a gateway for the upcoming India-Middle East-Europe corridor and the international North-South transportation corridor.
This Vadhavan port is going to be a very game-changer project in recent times. Obviously, a lot of investments is involved in it, but at the same time, it's going to give job opportunity to millions and lakhs of people. Well, that's the reason this Vadhavan port is going to be one of the important destinations on the international map. Shishila for DD India, Vadhavan, Palghar.
Well, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of India's largest port project at Vadhavan in Maharashtra tomorrow, giving a boost to economic activity and opening new avenues for international trade. And moving on, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will dedicate second nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine INS Arighat to the nation today at Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. INS Arighat is an upgraded version of INS Arihant, India's first nuclear submarine. The development marks a significant advancement in India's naval capabilities, particularly concerning its strategic nuclear deterrence. And India's second nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine SSBN, or Ship Submersible Ballistic Nuclear INS Arighat, is scheduled to be commissioned on Thursday in South India's Visakhapatnam. According to defence sources, preparations for the commissioning ceremony are in their final stages. The 6,000-ton INS Arighat is set to embark on a long-range patrol of the Indo-Pacific. INS Arighat, armed with 750-kilometer range nuclear ballistic missiles K-15, India will now have two SSBNs, INS Arihant and INS Arighat. INS Arighat, crucial part of the country's nuclear triad and second strike capability. The Indian Navy has already approached the Prime Minister Narendra Modi government for the approval of two nuclear-powered conventionally armed submarines. These submarines can remain underwater for months, and their range limitation is only due to logistics, supplies and crew changes. INS Arighat is an upgraded version of INS Arihant, India's first SSBN. The development marks a significant advancement in India's naval capabilities, particularly concerning its strategic nuclear deterrence. And the Election Commission of India issued notification for the second phase of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly polls on Thursday. 26 constituencies of Central Kashmir districts, including Srinagar, Budgam and Ganderbal, and constituencies of Rajouri, Riyasi and Poonch districts will be going for the polls on September 25th. The notification for third phase will be issued on September 5th, and the polling for this phase will be held on 1st of October. The counting of votes will be held on the 4th of October. Around 280 nomination papers were filed across 24 assembly constituencies in Jammu and Kashmir for the first phase. And 3 terrorists have been neutralized in a joint operation in North India's Kupwara district. Based on the intelligence inputs concerning infiltration bids in 2 separate areas of Kupwara, a joint operation was launched by the Indian Army and the Jammu and Kashmir Police on the intervening night of Wednesday and Thursday in Machal and the Tangdhar area of the district in North India's Jammu and Kashmir. The suspicious movement was observed in bad weather and was engaged with effective firing by its own troops. The operation is still in progress. And India has made first payment for hybrid power projects in the northern part of Sri Lanka. High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, handed over the first payment to Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Energy and Chairman of the Sri Lanka Sustainable Energy Authority. These projects in Delft, Nenativu and Alalativu Islands are being executed by an Indian entity under a Memorandum of Understanding signed between India and Sri Lanka in March 2022. The initiative aims to meet the energy needs of these islands by combining solar and wind power. And now monsoon update. Monsoon mayhem continues in parts of India. The western state of Gujarat is experiencing a flood-like situation as rainfall continues to thrash the state. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued a red alert for multiple districts in Gujarat, warning people of more downpours in the coming days. In response to severe flooding in Vadodara, Prime Minister Narendra Modi once again held telephonic conversation with Gujarat CM Bhupendra Patel on Thursday morning. The Gujarat CM in a social media post said that PM Modi expressed his concerns over the flooding of the Vishwamitra River and sought detailed updates on the assistance being provided to affected residents. He further said that PM Modi has assured full support from the central government to address the crisis. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Response Force and State Disaster Response Force teams have been deployed to increase the pace of the relief operation. The Army has also been deployed to assist the rescue and relief work. Well, the situation is worst in Vadodara as the city grappled with flooding after the Vishwamitra River, which flows through it, breached its banks and entered residential localities, inundating buildings, roads and vehicles. This issue has resulted the city of Vadodara to face severe flooding situations, resulting in the state government to reach out to the Indian Army to help in relief and rescue operations. Also, as the western Indian state of Gujarat grapples with severe flooding, crocodiles are now making their way into the Vadodara submerged neighborhoods. A 10-foot-long crocodile was rescued by a team of rescuers in Vadodara after it came out of a Vishwamitri river and was seen strolling on a rain-swept road. The Vishwamitri river flows through Vadodara, is overflowing and stands feet above the danger level sign. Moreover, wolves have unleashed their terror in North India's Uttar Pradesh as the pack of canines killed 7 people, including women and children, in the past few weeks. Stepping up the ante, 15 teams of the Forest Department have been deployed in the area under Operation Bhediya. Under this operation, efforts are on to catch the wolves through combing with the help of drone cameras, infrared cameras and thermal imaging cameras. A cage has also been installed along with a net to contain wolves entering into localities. Drones have captured the movement of the wolves and people of that village have been alerted. According to forest officials, the animals come out of their natural habitat during the rainy season due to water logging. And on the occasion of National Sports Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his heartfelt tribute to legendary hockey player Major Dhyan Chand. In a social media platform on X, PM wrote, and I quote, "Greetings on National Sports Day. Today we pay homage to Major Dhyan Chand ji. It is an occasion to compliment all those passionate about our sports and those who have played for India. Our government is committed to supporting sports and ensuring more youth are able to play and shine," unquote. Also, India's Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, was present at Major Dhyan Chand Stadium on the occasion of National Sports Day, where he planted a sapling and extended his heartfelt wishes to the hockey legend. Dr. Mandavia also emphasized on PM Modi's Fit India movement and urged Indian citizens to take up sports for at least an hour in a day. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world in the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lepakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.